Welcome everyone present in the physical form and online. I don't know, maybe they can tell if they can hear me correctly online.
Yeah, I looked before in this.
They should be fine. Okay, perfect. I'm going to tell you something about the country of the Netherlands, Dutch culture, Dutch language, Dutch food, and education as well, and also maybe opportunities to go abroad. So the Netherlands consists of 12 provinces. Our capital is Amsterdam. Most of you probably know Amsterdam. Actually, more people know Amsterdam than know the Netherlands, I think. And it's actually like a really small country. You can go from the top to the bottom in 3 hours. Actually, a friend of mine on his bicycle, he biked through every province in 1 day. So it's possible. Fun fact is that like a third of our country is below sea level. So we have a lot of dams at the water because if we wouldn't have, our capital would be underwater like until here from the floor. So it's pretty interesting, I guess. To compare the Netherlands to Minnesota, I think this is about right. I did my best to scale it, but I think this is like a size comparison to Minnesota. So in comparison, Netherlands, it's a country. So just like the United States, and Minnesota is a state. So yeah, just for your imagination. People from the Netherlands are called Dutch. Most of you probably know, I hope. Our capital is Amsterdam, as I just said. We have 17 million people living there, and we border to Belgium and Germany. You could probably go to Germany in like from everywhere within like 3 hours, 2 hours, and Belgium the same. So it's easy to go there. Here you see, oh, you actually see this, but there's the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, France, United Kingdom. Okay, so the country of the Netherlands, we are a parliamentary democracy. I hope I say it right, with a constitutional monarchy, which means we have a prime minister, which is basically our boss, our president. And we also have a king, which is him. And the king actually is just a ceremonial man. So he just gets like things at opening of official events and he's just waving. That's him. And he gets a lot of money, so nice. The largest company in history was actually a Dutch company. I don't know if you ever heard of the Dutch East India Company. They had like these ships and they would colonize a lot of places. And our founding father is named Willem van Oranje, and Oranje translates to orange. That's why our color is orange, as you see here, although it's not in our flag. That's something maybe interesting. Dutch people, they're very straightforward and they like to complain. So in America, they're like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. And then it's like, how are you doing? Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's something that's really different. My time here, I've noticed like Americans are really doing great, and then it's like everything sucks. So it's a big difference. We have coffee shops. If someone invites you to a coffee shop, they're not inviting you to drink coffee. Those people, they like agendas, especially like older people when you have like a party, and they're like, oh, hi, like you have a party, and then they're like, oh, should we have the next party in 5 months on this Saturday? And you're already like planning the next party. We're like, it's not like you're like next week. Oh, should we hang out? No, it's like it's already in our agenda. Soccer is by far our biggest sport, so that's something in our culture. Field hockey as well, but soccer is the biggest. Like here, it's basketball, ice hockey, I think. American football, or we call it football. Football, yeah. For us, it's soccer. It's like by far the biggest. Yeah, getting around in the Netherlands. You can do anything, or you can do a lot of things walking and cycling. There's actually more bicycles than people in the Netherlands. So there's 1.3 bicycle per person, which I have 3 bicycles. I'm one of those people. And public transportation also gets you anywhere. Every city in the Netherlands is connected by the same train line. So you can go from Amsterdam to Rotterdam, from Amsterdam to Groningen, from Amsterdam to Maastricht, all with the same train line. You can get there within a few hours, anywhere you want. And all the villages, like here, you have Rapiden or something, I don't know. It's like a village, there's nothing there, but every village has bus stops. So you can, from anywhere, you can go anywhere, which is nice. And also, like, especially during my time in Makeda, you know, it's like you can't do anything here without a car. Like, it's like, oh, I want to go shopping. It's like, you can walk to Quick Trip in 50 minutes, or you can just get a car. But in the Netherlands, within 50 minutes, you always find like a grocery store, a bar, snack bar. It's also a Dutch thing. I'll talk about it in a second. Like anything. So if you have a bicycle, you can do anything you want. That's an important thing. So you don't need a car. And it's also very expensive to have a car. Here you're like, oh, the fuel prices are going up, and we're like, what? We pay like $12 per gallon. Dutch language. It's something international students always find hard. We have like a hard G, like groeien. Probably no one can pronounce it. Rijsttafel, Schiermonnikoog. We have a lot of. Then we have like YJ. It's called I, like A, U, O, O, E, U. Like we have these weird sounds, and we have the het A. So here you say the house, the apartment. We say het huis. The kamer, we have like 3 words and there's no logic. So like if you learn our language, like the house, no, it's het huis. Like what? That's interesting. And we have also a lot of sayings that if you translate them, it's for you it's like weird, but false like I don't trust you for a meter or something. That's like a Dutch thing. For us it's logical where you say like to participate for bacon and beans. You're like, what? We have so many weird sayings. And you're gonna find it interesting. Things to do in the Netherlands, I put a picture of myself in because, yeah, whatever. We have like, for students, you can have like the best life ever because we have like festivals always. There's big parties going on. Also the top DJs of the world are probably all Dutch, like Hardwell, Martin Garrix, Tiesto, most of them. I don't know, Armin van Buuren, you might know them, I don't know if you're into DJs, but they always like have big festivals. And there's also a lot of student parties and unions, like fraternities. We have them everywhere. So you can join them also as an international student. It's always fun to get involved. And I would also advise you if you're going to travel, because as I just said, you can go anywhere with public transportation by train, by bus, but also within the European Union, because we have open borders. You can just take a train to Berlin or Paris. Paris is like 4 hours. Berlin a bit more, part of with train. And by airplane, it's even closer. So, or you just, I don't know if you plan on buying a car, you can just in a few hours, you're like, you can go anywhere. So that's really fun to do. But of course, we also have stuff to do in the Netherlands, like, I wouldn't want to say museums is the top thing to do. We have fun museums, we have some beautiful cities. Yeah, those kind of things. I don't know, it's hard to say what you can do. You can do a lot of things, to say that. Yeah, holidays in the Netherlands. We have one called Sinterklaas. I don't know if one of you ever heard of Black Pete. It's like, it was in the news, I think, because it's like a racist thing. We have like Sinterklaas, which is like this guy, like kind of Santa Claus. And then he has like these, we call them Zwarte Pieten. So Black Pete's like black people who help them, but now it's like not really okay anymore. So it's like changed to, they just have some black things on their face. But that's like our main children's feast. So in December, it's like just before Christmas, he comes around in his boat from Spain, ridiculous story. And he comes and all the children are like, hey, give me presents. Same with Christmas, but then the gifts go through the chimney. That's the story. And then it goes into shoes. Instead of hanging socks, you have hanging socks, right? Yeah. We have shoes on the floor. It's kind of the same. We also have just Christmas. I don't know, you have more gifts and stuff. For us, it's like you go get around with the family and have a dinner, like a fancy dinner. That's what we do for Christmas. King's Day, it's always on the date of birth of our king or ruling queen at the time. Everyone wears orange and just parties wherever. We have big festivals as well then. Carnival, which is, you have people that work like an entire year to build one of these cars to drive around the city. But basically everyone just dresses up as something ridiculous and you just drink beer. And we have a lot of festivals also locally. So we have probably none of you have heard of the Vierdaagse. It's like this walk, 4 days long. And then there's, I mean, everyone who doesn't want to walk, just parties, you know, those kind of things. Or, yeah, we have a lot of random parties. So if you were a party kind of person, go there. Dutch food. Yeah, we have a lot of frying snacks. As you see here, this is like a snack bar. A lot of people go to snack bars. So every Friday you go there, they make fries and you just choose some random snacks and they fry them as well. You get like fries and snacks. And it ends up not like this, but they're like bigger and with fries. That's a thing. That's like a Friday thing for normal families. And then we have like our food is boring, but we have a lot of international food, so it's not bad. It's like a normal Dutch meal, you know, like a family eats like, yeah, like we call it like AVG, like aardappelvlees groenten, so like potatoes, meat, vegetables. And we have these kind of things like sort of a stew. It's like potatoes mashed with, I don't know, stuff. It's okay. They have like these sausages. You don't know what's in there, but they're okay. Then we have this. This is called a frikandel broodje. It's basically like brood, like sandwich with one of the sausages where you don't know what's in there, and everyone buys them. And then we have this, like no one eats this, but it's traditional Dutch meals, like raw fish in salt, and then you just eat it like this. But yeah, I mean, you eat it once in your life, and then it's like, wow. Yeah. Then we also have like snack kind of things for the people who are here. I got some. You can try it out. It's pretty good. These are called stroopwafels. They're kind of like a cookie with caramel in the middle. And how people eat it is they have like a cup of coffee or tea, and they put it on there. Then the caramel melts, so it's like soft, and they eat it. You can also eat them like this. These are called pepernoten. They're kind of like small cookies with cinnamon and sugar. And these, Sinterklaas brings these. So he has like a bag of this, and like to children, they like throw it. And a lot of children have like a trauma me as well, where they come to your school, they throw it in your head. You like defending your head. Then we have these are called oliebol. They're basically like dough, and you fry the dough. And we eat this at New Year. So everyone has these, then you just drink champagne and eat this. These are for when a kid is born. If it's a boy, it's blue. If it's a girl, it's pink. Yeah. And they're called beschuit met muisjes. Yeah, I'm not going to translate it. But if you ever visit like a mom who just had a child, they will have this. This is tompoes. This is, yeah, it's nice. It's, yeah. And on King's Day, they make this orange, but normally it's pink. And these are called poffertjes. Like in the Netherlands, we call them Dutch pancakes. American pancakes are a bit thicker. We make thin pancakes. And these are like a small equivalent of that. We eat them with butter and powdered sugar. Good. Something I missed. Education. Yeah, I'm not going too deep into this section, but basically everyone has, I think it's called elementary school from 4 till 12 or something. Everyone does that the same. Then you have high school. Is it in the US same level for everyone? High school? Does everyone have the same level high school? Yeah. For us, it's different. Yeah. So if you're 12 and they think you're not smart, you go to like a high school for not smart people. If you're smart, you go to a smart one. Then after you finished your, yeah, this is actually elementary and high school. After you finish your high school, this is like for the, yeah, I would say the less smart people. That's maybe like that. And then this is like, yeah, this is like the best one. VWO, HAVO is like one level below. VWO is below. It's not all that relevant. All next sheet is more relevant. I won't tell everything. It's complicated. Okay, I think this is the most important part. We have universities and universities of applied sciences. And the difference is, the university you can get up to a PhD, and the University of Applied Sciences you can get up to a master's degree. And I think a state university is kind of the equivalent of an applied science university, because I'm a student at the University of Applied Sciences. So these are more University of Applied Science. You can study journalism. There's a lot of same as well, like law, more like multimedia design kind of things. And universities are more like philosophy, Dutch literature, those kind of things. I think that's what I wanted to say about this. Yeah. Education style in the Netherlands, like here you have like every week you have these quizzes. We don't have that. So the end is just like, this is your assignment. You have 8 weeks to do whatever you want to do. And everyone's just last week you're like sweating and not sleeping, like finishing everything. I think it's kind of the same, but here it's more even spread out through the semester. With us it's not, so keep your work updated. All universities have about the same level. So that means that if you go to the University of Amsterdam or the University of Groningen, if you have the same, like your degree has the same name, it doesn't matter. Like here you have Harvard. I mean, if you have a Harvard student and Minnesota State University student, they're going to hire the Harvard student because okay. But for us, it's not. It's all the same. So they also make like the programs together, so you know the degree what it's worth. And it also means that teachers have a lesser impact. But something I've noticed, like here I have this teacher and just teach whatever, like what he thinks is interesting, but that would never happen to us. but you also have less freedom in picking subjects because all the things are the same. You choose your, I guess, major, and then you might have 3 choices. But here, I think you can pick like subjects to fill your major, right? That's for us now. Everyone just has the same, and then you can pick a direction. That's the difference. University life. Dutch university's main purpose is education. So we don't have sport teams like here, like the hockey team, which is nice, I think, or bullpen. So they focus on university, on education. That's also one of the few things you can do at the university. As students, I mean, because we don't have sport teams and stuff, and it's also not in our nature, people are not proud. So you never say, like, you know, I'm a maverick or something. Never. Everyone's just like, you get like this sweater of the university the first week, and everyone throws it away the first day, except for the international students. They take a week and then they're like, oh, this is stupid, so we can put it away as well. That's something different. Here's like, oh, I just spent $60 for this sweater from the university. Like in the Netherlands, you're like, what? Are you insane? Do you pay for that? Yeah. Even though our university, I think they're pretty good. Also, a big difference, no one lives on campus. So here, dorms, we don't have dorms. Everyone just rents, like, you go to this house and you just rent a room. So this is like some students in a house. This is a nice house. Like, don't expect every house to be like this and have big windows. But a lot of students, they rent a studio. I think you call it studio as well, right? Like one room, or I think the most students, they rent like a room in a house. So rich people buy a house, they separate it into rooms, and you rent a room, and you have like a shared living room with TV, kitchen, those kind of things. That's what I had as well before I came here. Or you also have those students with apartments, but yeah, no. One of the big differences as well, something I miss here, is that on-campus drinking is often allowed, or actually always. This is like our cafe on campus at our university, and yeah, and we just drink beer, and it's amazing. And what's actually funny is this is a news article. It was posted yesterday. Students revolt because they want to drink beer earlier. This is like our campus cafe, and normally they start tapping beer at 3, but now the university is like, yeah, education is our main purpose, not serving alcohol, so we make it to 4. We open the tap at 4, and everyone's like petitioning and like, no, drink beer at 3. But I think it's probably better at 4 because, you know, I've been drunk at class as well, so that's different. Here, no one drinks on campus. I think it's like nationally not, right? You can't, yeah, nationwide. Yeah, I think this is the last sheet. After, I'd love to hear questions. But these are the 2 universities that have a partnership with MSU. So I think these are by far the easiest to go to if you plan on going to the Netherlands. I'm personally a student at the Han. And we are in 2 cities, Nijmegen and Arnhem. You probably never heard of any of these. You did, yeah. And also, I think they're in Zwolle and somewhere else as well, right? Zwolle, yeah. So if you're interested in that, you probably contact them. They're the most, yeah, contact her. It's the easiest. And I think that's my presentation for now. I have these cookies, so if you leave, please take them because they're pretty good. Or eat them now and just tell me they're not good or good. But yeah, I'd love to hear one of your questions.
How would you get a bike?
How would you get a bike?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they get like these student bikes. They're like, you're not sure if they're stolen or if someone used them. Like it's always 50-50. And they're like $10, maybe 20. And they're placed on Marktplaats, which is basically our equivalent of Craigslist. Facebook is not so big in the Netherlands. Like it's more we call it like a boomer platform. It's like old people use Facebook and normal people don't. So we have this website where you buy don't buy a new bicycle, please, because your bike will get stolen once, twice.
2 times.
Yeah, at least. Or like if you really, or you get like we have rental bicycles, and that's like for lazy people. They pay like $12 a month, and then if they're like light is out or something or it doesn't work, then you just call someone, they pick it up and you get a new one. But it's cheaper to just get a second-hand bike. Yeah, okay. But definitely get one of those in the first week, please.
Okay. Yeah. Wait, what was the website called?
Marktplaats, Marktplaats. Yeah, it's I think the Dutch translation of marketplace. Yeah.
ELA. Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Recently there's a lot of advertisements on top, but you just go a few pages further and to get there. Yes.
What is, I missed your beginning part, so maybe you said this, but what is kind of the main differences that you've seen from like Netherlands to the US or from like Han to Mankato?
In what way?
Well, just like maybe something that was like most surprising that you didn't expect or.
I kind of already mentioned, but we're going to mention again. The biggest difference, what I think is nice here, but also it depends if you like it, is that people are really proud of anything, like universities and stuff. Like in Netherlands, like people, they're not proud of anything. It's like Netherlands, wow, it sucks. Like our national anthem, no one knows our national anthem. Like the first line, because if you heard it once at Olympic Games, no one knows. Like you all probably know some lyrics of your anthem, right? We don't. Like so, I don't know, like the first 5 words maybe. So people here are more proud, I guess. But I think the complaining, also people are, stuff is pretty good in our country, but people just keep complaining and then it gets better. I think that's it. It's like, oh, students are stressed and now the government's gonna have a plan to give them money, you know, like monthly, like $300 or something. Those kind of things. I think here's like Minnesota State, you know, it's nice and then nothing changes. But what's nice is here, like I like to go here to the hockey games and stuff. Like university is more of a community, and at the in the Netherlands it's less of a community. So university is school, and of course, like we have this bar on campus there. You meet people and stuff. But if you really want to get involved, you should probably join like a student and like a fraternity. That's I think a big difference. Like here, you can just do. You're gonna live on campus, which people do, but in the Netherlands they don't. Yeah, that's a big difference, I think.
Cool.
Did you have to buy a car when you after you got here, or have you managed to survive?
Yeah, we bought a car, but it's also because like last month we're gonna road trip to the East Coast and then send it. I hope in Washington DC or before Washington DC. But yeah, that's still different. Like sometimes we're sitting here in a room, like what are we gonna do? Like our roommate took the car. It's like nothing. We can get an Uber downtown, drink beer. That's it. But in the Netherlands, like, what do you want to do? I'm going for a walk, and there's like a park everywhere, or like anything everywhere. So you just walk and like, oh, you know, screw it. I'm just gonna walk 20 minutes and then I go there. That's or the cinema or whatever. That's so that's hard for me here, and also like here the streets are just like a grid. For us, it's like all over because it's like the country is way older. So there's like it's naturally transformed like in decades. Which also, I don't know if it was in the US as well, but in the Netherlands, the church had to be the highest place of the village or city. It's the same here. Okay. Now it's not anymore. So yeah. Otherwise, Chicago would have a big church. Yeah.
I have a question. So like are the signs, are they in English too, or is it all in Dutch?
The signs.
Yeah, signage and things like that.
Well, like traffic.
Yeah.
Or,
Or just like let's say I'm gonna go like take the train or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Most are in Dutch, but like at the train station, there's like an English translation as well below it. So at like big spots, but like, yeah, the small restaurant is mostly Dutch, but like everyone in there speaks like proper English, not great, like, but like everyone speaks English. So you can always ask someone, they all speak English. Yeah. I think we're like the best English speak after Sweden. Sweden is first, and we're the second best non-English speaking country that speaks fairly okay English. So that's nice. You don't have to like, they're not gonna talk Dutch here. Like, what?
Where are you from in the Netherlands?
I was born in Nijmegen, which is the other city of the university. Then I moved to Breda, which is in the south. And then I studied in Arnhem, which is next to Nijmegen. You probably never heard of any of these.
Arnhem.
Arnhem, yeah. It's maybe because, I don't know if you're into history.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like World War II, there was like a battle for a bridge. It's called Airborne Operation Market Garden, I think. Yeah, that's in Arnhem. And they also have like a regional days called like Airborne, have custom flags. So we also have a lot of regional parties and events and memorials, whatever. Yeah. Any other questions? Maybe online.
No
questions.
What is your like thought of of Amsterdam? Like as like,
It's a city.
yeah,
Like, cause like we have like Minneapolis or like I was in a small town, I like considered that like, well, that's the place to like.
Do you know how many people live in Minnesota in total? Let me know.
Like 4.5.
4.5 million. Okay, wait, let me make this shit.
Is it?
6.5. Okay, then it's not that bad. But we have like nearly 18 million people here. And here's like 6.5. So the density of the population is way bigger, which means that there's like a big city everywhere. So for us,
So it's like,
yeah. But Amsterdam, I think the general thought is like a lot of tourists. You know, a lot of people go there just to smoke weed and like do stupid stuff. We also have, I don't know if you ever heard of the red light district. We have like legal prostitutes there as well. You know, that's really a tourist thing. You've been there.
mhm.
Yeah. But in general, it's a nice city. It looks good. But I think a lot of people just are like, yeah, I love tourists. I think that's probably what you have with New York City, right? A lot of tourists.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, nice city, but you know,
Yeah.
I think that's our view in general.
Mhm.
It's also really, really expensive to live there. You
Yeah.
live in like this house for like 5 million or something.
So is Amsterdam the capital or
Yeah.
is The Hague?
Yeah, okay, that's an interesting question. We have the capital is Amsterdam. And our political capital is The Hague. So I think that's here in New York City, Washington, DC. Washington, DC is your political capital, right?
Yeah.
Because there's the capitalism, and for us, it's The Hague. So that's kind of, but Amsterdam is our capital. And the story of The Hague is it's between Amsterdam and another big city, I think it's Leiden. And like in the history, there was like a battle, like where we're gonna do our parliament. And then they were like, they had like a battle, and then they were like, let's do it exactly in between. So, and that's now The Hague, like a big city, because and it used to be a village, like, yeah, we're doing our parliament in between because we can't figure this out. And that's why now it's a big city.
Because I don't think most people, I don't think would call New York like a capital of
No.
anything. They just like it's New York, it's the big American city, but I don't think they
Yeah,
would call
everyone
it.
knows. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it the capital of the United States?
No, DC is.
DC is the
Yeah,
capital.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was New York City and then DC was political. No, it's
no.
Washington DC.
No,
Okay.
there's nothing in New
I
York
didn't
that's
know.
like federal.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not even the capital of New York State. Surprising.
I didn't know. Wow, I'm learning something as well. Any other questions?
I'm trying to think of some. What would be like your biggest advice to students from here going to the Netherlands?
Yeah. So when you go, the first week is always your introduction week, and here I had an international introduction week, and I refer to the Dutch ones, which is crazy. And here I was like, oh, this is kind of boring. But for us, we have like you drink. Yeah, I mean that's our culture. If you don't drink alcohol, that's fine as well. But we drink like a shit ton of alcohol. So many people go to parties, and it's like a big thing. And my advice would be the first week, just like do the maximum thing, like maximal things you can do, because you're gonna meet a lot of people, and like every fraternity, or there's also a lot of sporting clubs. So if you don't want to do like a whatever, you can do like a sailing club or something like that. You don't have to go in any of these. I didn't. I just went in a company and met a lot of people there. So my advice would be the first week to just meet as many people as you can, because in class you might meet a lot of people, but it will take a while because Dutch people they're a bit less open, so it takes longer to get to them. Like, but on the other hand, like here, it's like we should totally have dinner sometime, and then we never have dinner. We don't have that. Like if someone says it to you, you're gonna have dinner. You know, that's the difference. But it takes longer to get to know them. Yeah.
You mentioned that like the whole difference between taking like we have exams every week and then a final.
Yeah.
And there is just like this is an 8-week long assignment.
Yeah.
Like what is that?
No, it's basically like your 8 weeks just learning, and then at the end you have like all your deadlines or exams. Like 1 week you have like 10 exams. It's like your kind of like D-Day. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like yeah.
Get all your stuff together.
All your stuff together. It's like that 1 week and everyone's like, and some people are like, oh, they don't have anything. Like, hey, you want to get a beer tonight? You're like, no. I have like 2 exams tomorrow. Yeah.
Is that like kind of like all during that 1 week you have 10 exams, or can you kind of do those exams throughout the semester?
No, all during 1 week. We do. I mean, I do have to say sometimes, especially I have to do an education with more projects, and you have like deadlines like all the way there, and then you just show what you did so far. So it's not like always hell 1 week, but we have like it's not as bad as I'm saying it is. It's just a bit different. We don't have those weekly quizzes for points or something. No. So you're working your way up to it like the entire semester. Any other questions?
How do you normally put on a stroop waffle?
What we put on this?
Yeah, do you normally put like syrup or anything on it?
No, because it's in there. It's in the middle. But I'm gonna give all of you one if you want to, unless you're allergic to gluten. That's easy. Yeah. Should I? You can come here to eat one if you want to, or I can come to you.
I want to try one.
Yeah, you want to try? I mean, I bought them like in January, so I ate one today to test if they're still good. A bit harder than they should be, but I guess you kind of get the test. I'm gonna walk around and give her one. There you go.
Thank you.
Have you
And
heard,
you have like, sorry.
have you heard of the like Minnesota's largest candy store?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the way to Minneapolis.
Yeah, they have a ton.
They have
of
these,
food.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
And these like,
Thank you.
we have also like markets. You go to market and they make them fresh. So they're like with the syrup, and then they're good. If you like this, then you should try that. If you don't like this, then don't try it. Because it's just a better version of this. This one's probably a bit too hard, so I'm sorry for the suffering. There you go.
Oh, someone in chat said that Aldi has them as well sometimes.
Yeah, I think like 5 years ago they were not in the US yet, and then some companies thought like, oh, people like these cookies, so that's just get into the US as well. You could probably get these somewhere. Are they okay, or you think like, wow, it's so bad?
It's like more chewy than like hard.
Yeah,
like
like
I was,
brittle, but
yeah, this is good. I really like this.
That's good. Yeah, I bought like 5 bags of these, but I ate like a few when I had COVID the first week here. Like 2 years ago when I come to the US first week, and then I had like these bags because like in the first week I came here, I had like nothing. I went to Walmart with the bus, and then the bus here, they're different than in the Netherlands. We came there, we had like a mattress. How are we gonna bring this back? And then you have like Discord. I don't know if any of you. It's like a talking platform. There's like a Mankato service. Like, can anyone get me? And there was like a random guy just, yeah, I'll pick you up. So he came with his car and put his stuff in the car. Called his home, and then I gave him one bag of these, and he liked it. So yeah. I think there's something in chat.
Yeah, that was just saying that Aldi has these sometimes.
Okay.
would you use a cargo bike for the mattress in the Netherlands, or how would you get it from like?
Yeah, that's a good
Ikea
question.
or wherever?
Probably if you get a mattress, you just order it.
There's
And then they
no-
just bring it at home for free or a few dollars. I guess it's kind of the same with Amazon here, right? You just order something and it comes to your home. But for us, it's always next day delivery, unless you get the rare product. But like the country is small, so it's always like before you order, like if you order before, I think it's 11 p.m., you get it the next day. So yeah. Or these most stuff, like of course there's if you order some weird thing from China.
Just I'm really into like urban planning, and I've seen a lot of videos and stuff about the Dutch concept of autolo or like autolo. I don't know how you say it.
I don't know.
It's like it means essentially car free, except for when you need it, like a delivery or like an emergency vehicle or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yes, especially in big cities, like having a car is just no. And it's also expensive, so most people don't. A lot of people from our age don't even have a driver's license over here. A lot of people, like everyone has a driver's license, right? I mean, if you don't. But in the Netherlands, like, I mean, I don't have a driver's license. My roommate always brings me everywhere, but I never needed it. So I was like, I wish I got one. Yeah. So that's definitely cool if we go back to the Netherlands, get my driver's license. Yeah. And we also drive like a manual. Here, everyone automatic, right? Yeah. We drive manual. It's a difference. We actually bought a manual car here. It's gonna be hard selling it, I think. Yeah.
I went and played volleyball in the Netherlands
Mhm.
during high school. And like the biggest thing I noticed was like partying.
Yeah.
It's like for the volleyball tournament, that at the end, they literally like hosted a party, like to celebrate everyone, like
Yeah.
for playing volleyball. Like, coming from like a sophomore in high school of America, like you don't party after a volleyball tournament, you go home and sleep because you're tired. They're like, we like went and we were like, what in the world? There's like disco lights and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have like, that's kind of new last year, is like apps where if you like don't have a party, you just, people have like house parties and you just look for a house party nearby. It's like, here's a house party, okay, go. So you go to someone else's house, like, welcome, here's beer, get in, you know. That's
What
it.
is the drinking age in the Netherlands?
It's 18. Yeah. It used to be 16 a few years ago, but they changed it. I think that's okay. Because most people, like, here's 21, most people start at like 17, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for us, it was 16, people started like 13, so it's better to start a bit later. Yeah. So yeah. I think in Germany as well, right? I mean, she's from Germany, by the way.
Yeah, we have like beer and wine and everything which is like soft liquor is at 16.
Yeah.
And hard liquor is at 18.
And we also know, like, here you have liquor stores.
Yeah.
Netherlands, you don't. You have grocery stores.
That's really Minnesota thing.
Oh, it's
is
Minnesota.
To have them separated, because in
Yeah.
Wisconsin, I think in Minnesota, you can't have them together.
Yeah.
And as of like a few years ago, you couldn't even buy liquor on Sundays.
Okay,
Yeah.
wow.
And so,
is-
yeah.
that's right.
And so it's really Minnesota thing, because
Okay.
Yeah.
And normally, like, because you're went to Walmart, it's like, what? You have like this light beer, what is this? You don't have light beer, if you ever, so get used to normal beer, or something heavier. Or IPAs, we do have IPAs, but then you're like the guy who buys IPAs for a while, you're that kind of person. Yeah. But yeah. Do you have any more questions?
I don't think so.
You still planning on studying in the Netherlands, or?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'm still like in the process, so.
Oh, you're already in the process, yeah. It's probably easier than to the US, like
Was
a lot of paperwork.
Was it really, I hear it's really difficult, like for my international friends to come.
Yeah, it's especially if you're like from, how do I say it in a nice way? Like from a country that is not in Europe, it's hard. But for us, like the embassy is just like, oh, you're gonna study, yeah, sure. But then like our embassy, the Amsterdam embassy had like a waiting time of 240 days. So I couldn't get in time, so I had to go to Brussels. Then you're just going to Brussels and you like give your passport, they sign it, and they're like, oh, you can come back next week to pick your visa up. They're like, what? What? Do I have to go back to Brussels? Yeah, so those kind of things they were, and then you come here, you need like a to work, you need like a social security, and I'm like, well, and then you go to some office where it's hot, and it's like a gray
That's a-
office with no windows or something, you're like sitting there and they're like, yeah, yeah. What do we do now? Yeah, I don't know.
That's accurate.
Yeah, I think for us it's like, I don't, it's probably hard for international students as well to get used to anything. He was like, I need this and this and this. And like, but for us, like government's more regulated. So it's more like every government also has like the same like logos and stuff. Like here they have all these, get like a lot of spam calls and mails, and we don't have that. Like I get like called every day by a random number. I don't know if any of you have that. I'm like,
Ever.
what is this? And then they call like, hi, it's John from the police. Yeah. That was the first time, and now I think I'm in their database. So I think they've seen in chat what we.
Yeah, she said, can you speak to the train system? And I asked what she means, because I'm not 100%.
About the train system, I guess.
Well, she said, can you speak to the train system?
Eurotrain.
Euro-
Okay, so on national level, every student gets a card, and it's free to travel in the country as a student. I think for international students as well. I'm quite sure, like 99, like very sure that international students have it as well. Eurotrain, well, there's an option, especially at the end, if you want to do a road trip, to buy like a ticket for, I don't know how many, like $200, $300 to travel within the EU for a month. It's called Interrail.
Yeah,
Interrail,
I
yeah.
bought that when I was in France once.
Yeah, that's nice, right?
Yeah,
To
it was
travel,
nice.
it's free, and normally you just buy a ticket, and then it's like it's still sometimes more expensive than airplane. So it's definitely not a perfect system. So also check the plane tickets unless you're like for climate. A lot of Dutch people, she's well, are like for climate they spend more for train, but it just takes longer. Like yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it's not. I'm not an expert in Interrail. We mostly go by car. So.
Does the like streetcar, because I know there's a lot of like smaller, not necessarily trains, but also just like trams and like streetcars. Do those cost in like the cities?
If you're a student, it's free. If you're not a student, they're not expensive. If you're not a student, train is more expensive. I mean, still, it's not expensive, but there's people like to complain. It's like $12. What? Are you insane? But the buses, they're like, I don't know if you ever used the buses here. I think it's about the same price, like a few dollars, like $2 to get somewhere, something like that. And then in big cities, you have like trams or metros, or like buses that are like connected to electricity on top. Yeah, pedal bus. I don't know what it's called. Yeah. And what else do we have? Water taxis in Rotterdam. They're nice. If you ever go to Rotterdam, go by water taxi. I think that's about it.
So I guess Amsterdam has like more canals than Venice, right?
I think so, but Venice is not beautiful. But Amsterdam is good as well. They have a lot of canals. And actually, if you go there, go to Delft as well. It's close to Amsterdam. It's like small Amsterdam with less tourists.
I've heard that.
And they have like they're like famous for the blue painting. Like you have a white face with blue things on there. Part of it is Chinese, but Delft is really big as well.
I've heard that Delft is
Delft,
like they have like the quietest city center in like
the quietest.
the like European Union.
Probably it's not very loud, but it's beautiful. You should definitely go there once. Like, and they also have a big university, technical university with 3 in the Netherlands, 3 technical universities. So a lot of student things, so you can just get a party somewhere. I mean, you can do it everywhere. That's a nice city. Any other questions?
Got another soup waffle.
You can have another.
I'll take it.
Do our cards here work there?
Credit, like debit credit cards?
Yeah.
I think so.
You just don't
You
have
just
visa,
have
right?
to do it.
Sorry,
You don't have visa, right?
Visa.
In the Netherlands. I thought that visa wasn't accepted a lot.
Oh, like Visa. Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good
I'm
one.
pretty sure visa.
Most
is-
people use MasterCard,
Yeah,
and here Visa is a standard.
Yeah,
But you
I-
can probably use most ATMs. But that's a good one.
I
If you can get a
remember
MasterCard.
yeah, I remember when I was in the Netherlands, there were a few places that didn't take visas
Mm.
because for whatever reasons, so.
Yeah, like here Visa is big, for us it's
Yeah,
MasterCard.
yeah.
I'm gonna give you. I don't know if you can open it. I actually have an American bank account, but I don't know how it works. I've never been to the Netherlands as a non-Netherlands person. Does anyone else want an extra one?
Yeah.
I mean, I have 3, so I'll just hand them out. There you go. They're called stroopwafel, I guess. You can probably get them somewhere here, but they're, yeah. Anyone else?
I'll take the last one.
Yeah. I mean, there's 2 more, so one person.
Thank you.
They're not that healthy though. I guess you tasted it already.
Okay.
What we also do is Dutch breakfast. Way more bread. Here it's like some people eat a donut for breakfast, or like cereal, right? We eat like bread and then peanut butter or like sprinkled chocolate, like chocolate sprinkles you put on cake, right? We put it on bread, and that's both on half stuff. It's good.
It's so good.
Yeah. How long have you been in the Netherlands? Like a few weeks or
I went 3 years ago,
3 years ago? For how long? For a few weeks or
2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
Well, we played in 2 volleyball tournaments,
Mhm.
one in Innsbruck, Austria, I think.
Okay.
And then we kind of just took a week there,
Yeah.
and then we went through Germany or wherever, we kind of toured, and then we.
Yeah. Nice. Any other questions?